To get started with electronics or embedded systems, you need to first understand electricity. So, have you ever touched a metal door and felt a sudden shock? Now, here is something interesting. Another person might touch the same door and nothing happened. So, what changed? Why did you get shocked and the other person did not? So, what happened started before you even touched the door. As you walked, your shoes rubbed against the floor and your clothes rubbed against your body, and then this rubbing caused something invisible, which is electrons were transferred from one material to another. You have to know that your body has extra electrons, and that means one thing: you are no longer electrically balanced, so you are charged. Now the metal door is different. Metal allows electrons to move freely, so when you touch it, those extra electrons in your body suddenly find a path. They rush out into the metal. So that sudden movement of electrons is what makes you feel shock, and that's because it moved very fast through your skin. Now let's try to understand the same idea, but with a different example. So inside the cloud, we have tiny ice particles that are constantly colliding. So as they collide, they exchange electrons. Some parts of the cloud become negatively charged and then others become positively charged. And as the charge builds up, the difference becomes too large. Meanwhile, the air between them is what acts as the insulator. But when the electric force becomes strong enough, it breaks through that air, which is the insulator, and then suddenly a massive current flows, which is what you get as lightning. So whether it is a tiny spark or a massive lightning strike, the idea is the same thing. Charges moved from one conducting material to another conducting material. But the question now is, what if we can make that movement controlled? You have to know that in electronics or in embedded systems, we don't want sudden discharge. We want steady movement. We need a continuous flow of electrons, and that is what we call electric current. But then, electrons don't just move on their own. They need a push. That push is created by a difference in charge, and that difference is usually between 2 points. And this difference is called voltage. Now you must understand that in a battery, this push is constant. So electrons move in one direction, and that is called direct current. But in power systems, the push changes direction. So electrons move back and forth, and that is called alternating current. So when you see the sinusoidal waveform, it's showing that these electrons is moving back and forth. Alternating current, AC current. For current to exist, we need a complete loop. We need a source, we need a path, and then we need a return path. And once you break that loop, the electrons will stop moving. Now, instead of the electrons just flowing, we can control when the electrons move and when they stop. And by doing this repeatedly, we create what we call signals. But in real systems, other unwanted movements interfere as well, and this unwanted disturbance is called noise. So whether it is a spark or lightning or a circuit you are working on, electricity is always the same story. Charges, movement, and then a path for that charge to move, alright? So now the former definition of electricity becomes very, very clear when we say electricity is the flow of charges or the flow of electrical power. Now it becomes very clear and simple to understand.